Like Adrian Mole, I kept a diary during my first tour. Move over, Dave Grohl, Tom Hardy. This is CBeebies Bedtime Stories on steroids. September 2011, Mum's birthday, Op TAC 5. We haft into objective Springbok at 0500. Very excited and a little apprehensive. But as soon as we landed on the ground, you just get on with the job. I pushed into the outer cordon to the south, and the Bosch 170 guys, that's the Afghan Special Forces, with their SAS mentors, went straight for their first compound. Surveillance assets saw guys extracting from the area. We tried to stop them, but they were long gone. This is one of my big regrets of the op, and I'll tell you about that later. One of the Sea King helicopters to the north dropped my platoon 2IC and his multiple half platoon north of the canal, not as planned. As the sun rose, the cordon was set and the compounds were being searched. The engineer guys who were there to search the compound were very slow and hadn't done their kit checks. Not impressed. Problems with their electronic countermeasures and metal detectors. In bold capital letters, idiots. During the 2.5 hour search, there was a false alarm reference a find. There was also a lot of build-up of people with possible weapons to our west, but the Apache helicopter didn't engage. As we were securing the helicopter landing sites for the extraction, the insurgent radio was suggesting that the insurgents were going to attack the Chinooks coming in. As the first Chinook came in at 7:45 in the morning, a machine gun opened up on it from the southeast. Bob, the SAS mentor with us, picked out where it came from, compound 10, and so the helicopter extraction was cancelled. Time to tab out, at least 5 kilometres. As we were having a quick face-to-face with Neil Tomlin, the company commander, a rocket-propelled grenade struck the rear wall of the compound we were at. The insurgents were going to fight us all the way back in. So started the 7-hour fighting withdrawal. The Wrecker Platoon and the Afghan Special Forces were tasked to push forward to previous firing points to deny them from the insurgents. I was going to take the forward left on the east and my 2IC the forward right on the west. Off we set. As we approached compound 26, we were opened up from the east with a machine gun. Rounds were bouncing all around us. It was very close. The boys returned fire, took cover and returned accurate fire really well. A heavy weight of fire from my 2IC's half platoon. After a quick O group in a ditch, this picture here, my 2IC and the Afghan Special Forces went to assault the area that we were attacked from. As they moved up the irrigation ditch, they were opened up again from a similar area. Neil Tomlin, the company commander, and Dan's multiple of 1 platoon had grenade attacks onto their rear location. The Apache helicopter fired warning shots near the area of where the fire was coming from. And the company commander and I came up with a plan to use the ditches to move south and then bounce compound to compound with each half platoon providing overwatch for the next. I got into a compound that we'd laid up near on Operation Sook 1. That was the first operation into north of Poppleseye. And we put one of our snipers on the roof to overwatch. The company commander, Neil Tomlin, and Robbie's half platoon, that's from 2 platoon, then got opened up from the west again. And the insurgents were using bund lines and ditches for cover. The surveillance assets and the Apache helicopters tracked guys with weapons to a compound 600 metres from our compound to the northwest. Our sniper got eyes on, and as the company commander was suppressing the insurgents' position and using the Apache to fire warning shots to continue moving south, a guy got on the roof of the compound my sniper was watching with an AK-47. He engaged and shot him first time. On the insurgent radio, it was clear that we'd hit an insurgent as they started organising the casualty evacuation. We then crashed out some warrior armoured fighting vehicles from another base to help us, and they came up to protect our flanks. After this final engagement, we slowly echeloned back and I got into Atoll at 2 p.m. We were supposed to deploy out again at 9 o'clock that night, but fortunately it was cancelled because there was more planning to do. I got to phone home and wish Mum a happy birthday, exhausted, and went to sleep, brackets, after admin. Good lad. It was one of the most frustrating days, I think, because we built up all that intelligence about that area. Had we tabbed in there and quietly and set a cordon silently and then landed other people in helicopters, we might have caught them, but that was all fine in hindsight. Turns out that the engineer team had missed a potential antenna wrapped around a tree, which would have either been a rebroadcasting antenna for insurgent radios or indeed a radio antenna to speak back to command in Pakistan. It was at the end of September. We were about to be relieved in place in a few weeks, and there was going to be no more raids north of Popple's Eye, or so we thought. Thanks so much for your donations. We're at over 4,250 now, I think. If we can get to 4,800, that's £100 per mile, which should be really motivating. And all of it goes to combat stress. 4 days to go. Enjoy.